Meenal Singh is an artist who's really captured my imagination. Her work is, it's really mind-blowing, not because of just what you see here, but I'd like to tell you more about it. Very interesting history with her actually, because she started her career as an architect, and she worked in that field. And being an architect and the kind of modernist approach to her work there, and also at the time when she studied architecture, this has really influenced how she works today as a painter. She moved to art and to painting because that was really her calling, and that was something that she wanted to explore. And we'll get into that in a moment. Now, just as a backstory, she grew up in the Himalayas, and when you look at this work here, there's almost an obvious reference to the mountains. Now, she is not necessarily trying to paint the mountains, but the geology, the landscapes, the topography, and the structures of that region have hugely influenced her, and it obviously does find her way into the work, but I feel it's not in an obvious manner. These are all oils on canvas, and what I find really amazing about her practice is the way in which these artworks are created. This is completely process driven in a sense. These are explorations into colors and into the material itself, and this is something that kind of connects back to her previous avatar as an architect and that kind of modernist way of thinking. She's really exploring the possibilities, the characteristics of oil, and seeing what she can do with it. Now, I'm going to explain one thing that may blow your mind, but there are no brushes that are used in her work. There are no knives. In fact, there is no contact that she makes with the surface of the canvas. The way that she achieves this, and maybe if we come back to this piece, it might be easier to understand, but she basically pours the paint onto the canvas and then manipulates the canvas in a manner to allow the paint to flow. So all of the lines that you're seeing created here, all of these layers are basically how she has moved the paint. She's very conscious and selective of the colors that she works with. So, for example, in both of these works that we've looked at right now, she has very clearly decided to work with these particular 2 or 3 colors. And then it's also what happens when these colors mix and flow over each other. So I just want to mention and stress that point again, that this is not painted. This is created by a process of moving the canvas with fluid paint on it. She really has to, what I admire so much is that this has been so many years of honing this technique where she has to get exactly the right consistency of paint so that it flows in a way that creates these effects. It's a very difficult process because she's controlling the movement of the paint, but she's also making sure that there are places where it does not flow over each other, and you get these effects of light where the whiteness of the canvas comes through. So the kind of dynamic feel and the movement and the flowiness that we feel in Meenal's work is really a direct result of the way in which she's working. This is an amazing piece, and she has created quite a few in this series where she's working with a single color. Sometimes it's a color, sometimes it's a gray. But again, it's this feeling, magical feeling of light coming through, and also these little lines that where she has managed to not let the paint make contact with the canvas. And I was recently up in the mountains in the Himalayas in Ladakh actually, and I was just so moved by the place, and I was always thinking about her work, because when you see this landscape where she grew up, in those mountains, you realize that you can't replicate them. It's not about trying to create a photorealistic image of it, but how do you do something that captures that kind of magic of these majestic uh, landscapes, and the way that there is a play of light, things that really take your breath away when you see it in real. And I feel that in her practice she's managed to capture that kind of awe-inspiring feeling.